Okay, so tonight we're going to take a look at the JavaScript tic-tac-toe with the Rails API backend. We're going to look at the jQuery part of this project, everything living in the asset pipeline of tic-tac-toe. So all of our work should be happening in app assets, JavaScript's tic-tac-toe.js. I believe every single one of these tests starts with tic-tac-toe.js. Oh, and then some more context specific of some buttons in the interface. Cool. So maybe we'll get through everything except the Ajax, and that can be our goal, to get through 24 tonight. And then all these Ajax interactions, maybe if I do this again, I can do that part and have like a 3-part series. Because I know I've done the backend a couple times, and that's recorded and in the video app. So if you go to that, you can find those there. There's at least 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. I know I've done the backend a few different times. So we're going to looking at doing 24 tests tonight. Let's see if we can get through that. And so yeah, we'll just get going, I guess. Let's shift. I'll just start a server. VM, gemset, use global. I messed up my gemset at some point in time, and it's never worked the same since. So what are we doing? Rails server. Oh, I'm not in the directory. CJS tic-tac-toe -rails -API -v000. All right. Cool. Don't think we'll see anything in here this evening, but just to remind us of what we're looking at. Localhost 3000. Oh, migrations. That's always a good reminder to look at your server. Let's run our migrations so that things will work right. Paste. Okay, now we should be able to see our board. There we go. So we're not going to do much in here. Some of these clicks might be working for us before the end of this, but none of these buttons are going to be doing our Ajax calls just yet. So cool. Let's run our tests again. All right. I'm going to collapse this down and open up our test directory and look at the spec. Tic-tac-toe. All right. Tic-tac-toe test.js. And that should be everything that we really need to see. It's going to help us walk through these tests so that we don't have to run this as often. I've never figured out, or I guess I've never really researched something similar to fail fast in NPM test. If you know one, just let me know. But that way we don't have to run all the tests and scroll up all the time. So setting up some setup stuff. Helper function. All right. So this is where our first failure is coming from. Tic-tac-toe player is defined. All right. So first, looks like we need a player. So let's define player. Function player. And we'll start there. Or we can read through this a little bit more. Returns X when the turn count is even, returns O when the turn count is odd. So we're going to have a turn variable somewhere. And so let's make that. Let's define a turn variable. So let's say let turn equal 0. So we'll assume that we start on turn 0. If we remember back to our other tic-tac-toe that we've done, that I think will make sense. Then after each turn, we increment the turn, and we reset that to 0 at the end, and I think we can work on that turn just like that. Actually, one thing I forgot to do. So look at the README. I am so bad about that, and there's typically good information in here. Congratulations on setting up your Rails API backend. Hopefully you took a short break to celebrate because the real fun starts now. In this second installment, you're tasked with building out a JavaScript front end to place on top of the Rails API recreated in the previous exercise. For reference, there's a video, apparently hosted on Amazon, showing how the final product should function. Create a fully functional tic-tac-toe game using jQuery and or vanilla JavaScript. Make AJAX requests to a Rails API in order to save, update, and reload games. Code your solution in tic-tac-toe.js, which we're loading via the Rails asset pipeline. As a refresher, we added that file to the asset pipeline for specifying in our JavaScript manifest file. You're welcome to use jQuery, pure JavaScript, or a combination of the two. Exploring the DOM. The only view lives there. Before you dive into writing JavaScript, start the Rails server or familiarize yourself with the DOM that you'll be working with. Take special note of the way in which the squares of the game board are identified with data X and data Y elements. Buttons. Okay, we're not going to look at the buttons, I don't think, today. Wiring those up. All right. For the actual tic-tac-toe functionality, the test suite is pretty opinionated. We've given you a lot of the structure, and the tests force you down a pretty specific path as far as which functions you need to define and what they should do. So this can be tricky sometimes when the tests are really, really specific and things have to be done a certain way. Pretty opinionated, as it's specified. So the player function returns the token of the player whose turn it is. X when the turn variable is even, and O when it is odd. So there's the turn variable. So that's being defined for us. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's say our player, so if turn is modulo 2 is 0. So that means if when dividing by 2, we have no remainder, then we want to return X. And then we say else return O. And we define our turn variable. I'm going to take this out because I think that's a given at this point. And yeah, I think that should be good. So let's see where our tests say now. 3 passing, 37 failing. Look like 5 passing, 33 failing. Okay. Something's going on with our player. Returns O when the turn count is odd. Expected X to equal O. So let's see. Tic-tac-toe test. Line 55. Expect player to equal O. So what's going on here? Let's see. Turn window.turn equals 3. So it's setting up a variable of 3 and run this function. And saying expect window.player to equal O. Return X, return O. What is missing? Populate, window turn. Let's see if there's anything up here that's throwing this off. So I think this is looking good. Let's see.
Seth, I know I had issues with this lab where I couldn't use let,
Ah,
and I don't know exactly why that is. I think it's just like an older version of JavaScript or
I
something.
have
yeah, it might be
experience.
something in the tests that isn't updated for ES6 yet, which might make sense.
Yeah, I also had similar experience with this let.
Let's see. So set turn equal to 3 and call player again. That returns O. Yeah, so it works in the browser, which can be okay, 6 passing. So yeah, let's assume that let and const aren't going to work yet. I'll note that and see if we can't get that updated. Since we're teaching ES6 in our curriculum now, when I did this lab, we weren't teaching ES6 as in-depthly as we are now, so it would make sense. But now I think this needs to be changed. So let me write this down real quick so I don't forget. So I don't forget to tell somebody at least, or maybe work on it myself. Who knows? But okay, we'll just use var for everything. Nothing wrong with that. And that should alleviate these problems. Although the test is using let. Now I'm confused, but we'll just use var and not make that a sticking point. And, understand we know what let and const are and what we can use them for in the future. And if you do find them on labs, please raise an issue on them. Use the little flag on the lab. Because I think everything was tried to go through. Let me just point that out really quick. I don't know where. Okay, this is a JavaScript lab. I guess it doesn't matter what lab it is, but hit the flag right there. And if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Oh, I know something that'll help. I think if we use strict, it'll work. All right. What was it? 6 passing? Yes. Okay. 6 are still passing, then that'll. No, it doesn't look like it. 3. Okay. That's fine. It could also be something in my computer setup, but well, let's keep moving. So we're past that now. We got player done. Update state. Let's go back to the README. Update state. It invokes player and adds the return string X or O to the clicked square on the game board. Okay, so update state. We're gonna need to, okay, so we need to look at our, whatchamacallit, our board now. We're here, can inspect now. Table, table body, table row. So we can see where things are happening. Okay, so we kind of understand what we're looking for. Let's get update state. Written. So it invokes the player function. So it's looking to call player with, all right. update state, let's say, we'll start here. Let's just set a variable. Let's see what our tests tell us after that. Adds the current player's token to the passed in TD element. Okay, so we're going to need to do some JavaScript or jQuery here. And update a square. So to the passed in TD element. So let's see. Expect squares, 8 squares 0. This is where we go searching sometimes. So let's see where our helpers look like to see what squares is. Let's see test setup. No. Fixtures. Index. jQuery. Oh. Const squares window.document query selector all TD. Okay. And then our TDs are data X, data Y. Okay, so there's going to be two parts to that, an X and a Y coming into our test. Say upstate state, X, or X comma Y. Then it's going to be an X number and a Y number, and that's going to tell us which TD to target. So let's use our jQuery here to grab that first one. And we know that they're called data X first and equals, and let's use string interpolation to just get that X value that's getting passed in. And this is correlating to this right here. So we're basically building this part. Data X, and then data Y. Y. And we can set that HTML to current player. Well, I guess we can just call current player here. We don't need to actually have that variable. So we're using jQuery to target that element. Data X, data Y, that matches. Then we're going to set in between there equal to something.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you're in the jQuery, when you're finding the element, is it the inputs are put in brackets?
So that, let's look at jQuery.
Because I noticed without the brackets, they do it returns something different. So I just want to know like when to use brackets and when not to, I guess.
And that is selector. So that's going to be because of the data attributes. And it's part of the attribute value. So the attribute is an attribute name and the value is the value, and that's where it's coming from. Okay. So we're looking at, see, the first selector is the element, so input. And then we're looking at, here it's set up as value equals hot fuzz. So we're looking at the data selector or data attribute, which is value. So these types of things are going to be in the brackets.
Got it. Okay. Great.
Good question. So this should target what we need and throw in HTML of just the string, X or O. We'll see what happens. Excuse me, doesn't look like that worked. Invokes the player function. Okay, unrecognized expression. Let's see what's going on here. Object, HTML, object HTML data cell element. Okay. So these might not be what we think.
I think you're also missing the closing square bracket and data Y.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, maybe that's one.
Let's see if that fixes it. No. Data X object. So this is coming in as an object. I think that's what's throwing it off. All right. Let's see what happens. Where am I looking for? Okay. That's what I want to hit. I guess it's not running there. The test is running it. Just console log X and Y. Should be able to find them. Passed in TD element. Squares. All right, I gotta track down squares. Let's see what this gives us. Copy. Console. Okay. Squares equals squares 1. All right, so this is what we're getting passed in. So that's where our issue is. We're just getting a square here. And all right, how are we going to get these data objects off of them now? We need to get those numbers. From here, so attributes, data X, data Y. Let's see. Squares 1, let's see if data. No, didn't think so. Not. Named node map. Oh, okay. Let's see. One. Undefined. Okay. Let's see if that's what we're looking for. X. Owner element, child. Node name, value. That's what I'm trying to get to. Oh, return. No. No. All right. Get node list value JS. Is an object. Host object. Length property. Square bracket property access syntax. This is not what we need. JavaScript on. Query selector all P. To access this second P, you can write I thought that was what we did. So we would say Rx equals square 0, or y equals square 1. Let's see what that gives us in here. Equals I guess that's still I was looking for it.
Do we have to say like TD and then square brackets, because this data X is an attribute of TD. So do we have to mention that? TD and then square bracket data X.
Oh, you're saying right here?
Yeah, there. This TD is like data X and data Y are attributes of TD. So do we have to mention that in this query?
Like that? You're thinking?
I don't know, but I mean, it seems because data X can be an attribute of any HTML tag. So do we have to like specify it's an attribute of TD?
I don't think so, only because those are going to be unique attributes, like that paired together like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
She's looking at the rainbow.
Square.innerHTML. Ah, yeah. I see. That makes sense. Because the square is the everything that you need, including, yeah, I was trying to complicate this too much. So if the square is the whole TD object, then yeah, what you're saying, inner HTML, like that, is all that's needed in this case. Let's see. Oh, down here. Update state. Squares, because that is, as we saw, the whole list of squares. So all we need is we use this as a target, like it's highlighting right now. And that's the target. And then we just update it. Cool. I think that's actually simpler than it was, because there was 2 variables passed and you had to target before. Cool. Look at this with fresh eyes. Saying it doesn't invoke the player function. Not sure why, but I know that this will definitely catch that invocation of the player function for this test. Or it should at least. There we go. jQuery. It's not a function. Current player equals player. Square dot text. Current player. Okay, that worked. Because we just, I guess, didn't like the inner HTML call here. Gotta love the JavaScript testing sometimes. Okay, we'll keep working through. Set message. Set message, accept the string and adds it to the div message element in the DOM. Okay, so we know what we're targeting. Let's see, it passes a string. So let's just call that message and say, expect message div inner HTML to contain a string. Looks like this one's pretty straightforward, just targeting an element here with an ID of message. So it should be straightforward. Pound of div or our pound message for the ID message. Let's just pass in that message string. I think that's all that one needs. Yes. Okay. So now we got to start looking at check winner. Returns true if the current board contains any winning combinations, 3 X or O tokens in a row, vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. Otherwise, returns false. If there's a winning combination on the board, should invoke set message, passing the appropriate string. All right. So now we need to add in here something that should be very familiar or blocked out from memory completely, which is some winning combos. As an array, 0, 1, 2. Let me just grab these to save some time here. Haven't changed since we've done them in Ruby. Okay. Winner. All right. So the first thing that we're going to need, let's think about this. Check winner. So let's say instead of variable for if there's a winner, we can start with false. And then let's see, what's this getting? It's looking at a board. So we don't have a board yet. I guess the board is our back end. Let's see, check winner, do turn, attach listeners, button clear. Oh, look. Reading the README, always positive. If computer will work with me. Mocha run. Oh, the JS console. I'm running it here, Mocha run. Or not. Okay. I'm not going to worry about that. So we need to see what's on the board so we know how to check for a winner. Okay. So let's check the board. So it should be an object. Start as an empty object. And then we're going to look through these to generate our board. So these are all TDs, and there's only TDs on our page. So we go with TDs, get the text off of them, and then we're going to need 2 things from them. So we'll need our index and the square. Index being where we're at. We'll take that. We're going to create those objects. And that should populate, or that will populate our board object. We're going to have indexes, so it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or however, with our square like we had in update state. Now we need to loop through our winning combos. And should be able to do that with for each. Will that do what we need? I think so. We'll find out. And that will take position. Now this should be board position 0. And this is something that we did back in our Ruby days. Equals board position 1 and board position 2 . There. Equals actually 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Zero, 1, 1, 2, and actually 0 isn't empty. That's what we need. And that's our if. So if that's, then winner equals true. We say else. Oh, we don't need an else. It's going to be false. We missed something somewhere. Closing bracket. Let's see. Closes that. Oh, right here. There we go. Just make sure this is, oh, that's not what we need. Not going to pass yet, but shouldn't be completely broken. Okay. And if all that's working right, then if winner is equal to true, let's get our syntax right. Then we want to message, let's say player, what does it say? All right, player. I want the current player. Because that will return that string. 1. And else. Let's see. Returns false if no. Return false. No winning combination is present on the board. So that's a decent little chunk of code. Just see if it'll work. Okay, not yet. Oh, this is supposed to be set message. So that's one thing that's false or wrong. Turns true. Do we need to explicitly return it? Or I guess it'll be true if it gets the message. Let's see. Okay, so these are backwards, apparently. So let's see. Let's do a turn plus plus here. Because nowhere are we incrementing that turn. We'll update the state after somebody clicks. Let's see. Well, expected player X1 to equal player O1. We'll get rid of that for now. Let's see. TD text. So we're populating this. Let's see if our board 0 is not equal to an empty string. 0 equals 1. 1 equals 2. Like return winner. Here, we can extrapolate this out even some more. Thinking two if else's were, or two ifs were a little too much. So if these are true, then we're going to set the message and return true. Else return winner. Because winner is going to be false. Let's see where that gets us. Okay, so it's returning right, it's just returning the wrong player now. So let's see what's up with our player. Player. Although I guess we don't need to call another function. We have it right here already. Because if all those are equal, then that's the winning player. So we can say board position 0, 1. So we're at 24, 23. Sweet, passed. Okay. Up to do turn. Do turn. Let's see. Go maybe 5, 6 more minutes, 7 more minutes after the hour, because it started a little bit late, and then we'll call it quits for tonight. But maybe I think we can get through do turn. Do turn is defined. Do turn increments the turn variable. So we know turn variable is going to be incremented. Cool. Let's see what it takes. Do turn, be a function, increments turn variable. Do turn takes a square as an object. All right. If we're taking in a square, then we want to update our state with that square. So we actually put that X or O in there. We increment the turn after that. All right, let's see, 23, 20. Cool. Invokes the check winner function, invokes the set message function, resets the board and turn counter when the game is won. And okay, so 3 more tests for this evening, and then pick up the rest of it some other time in the future. Cool. So what we're trying to do with a turn. Okay, invokes a check winner. So check winner. Invokes set message function with the argument tie game when the game is tied. Resets the board turn counter when the game is won. So if check winner, because that comes back either true or false. So if there is a winner, then resets the board. So that's actually gonna be, what do we want to do when we reset the board? And set the turn counter to 0. What else do we need to do? We need to clear the board, and the board is everything that's in those TDs. So TD, we can call empty on that. So that should clear the board. And else, else shouldn't really do anything, but we need this tie game. So else if the turn equals 9, because if we're on the 9th turn and there isn't a winner, then it has to be a tie game. Set message. What does that say right there? Tie game. I would assume we should reset things with a tie game. Maybe not. Let's see what it says. 17. So maybe we didn't have to reset the board with the tie game. Let's see if it passes those. Yes. So it looks like that's good enough for those. Cool. Well, sweet. Thanks for coming out tonight. If you have a couple minutes, throw in our study group feedback form into the Zoom link. Any questions about anything that we've gone through this evening? I know we moved kind of quick and it's pretty dense. It is recorded, so I'll get that up probably tomorrow, maybe the next day. But sometime this week, this recording will go up for review. And I will continue this on from this point. The next time I have this lab in my study group list, we're already scheduled out through the end of next week. So if I don't have a chance to get through it by the end of this week or next week, I'll see if I can't get it on the schedule for the week after that to finish it up. But yeah, any questions that I can answer right now? Okay, if not, well then have a good evening. Thanks a lot for coming out for a little bit, and I'll see you around.